A wedding is supposed to be one of the happiest moments of your life, right? It's a new beginning, a big celebration. But what happens when that joy turns into absolute terror? When the person you welcome into your family isn't a person at all? Well, this story, it comes from a village near Kanpur, and it's about a family whose happiest day became their worst nightmare.
Wow, that one sentence just says it all, doesn't it? It's this chilling little warning that when the groom finally lifts that veil, he's not going to find the love of his life, he's going to find something else.
Okay, so our story really begins with a young man named Orion, and from a really young age, his life was all about responsibility.
So get this. After his father passed away, Aryan became the man of the house at just 15 years old. 15! While other kids his age were, being kids, Aryan had one single goal: take care of his mom and his older sister, Sushma. He was this incredibly hardworking, respectful kid who was just completely devoted to his family. And his determination was just off the charts. Through sheer hard work, he completely turned their lives around. First, he worked like crazy to save up enough money to get his sister happily married. Then, he quit this awful, dead-end job and actually started his own business. And it worked. He bought a second shop, and then the family's very first vehicle. Can you just imagine how proud his mom must have been, doing a little prayer for his new bike? Her son had become their rock.
So, with the family doing well and feeling secure, the conversation, of course, turned to Aryan's future. And, well, this is where things are about to take a very, very dark turn.
Aryan was pretty happy with how things were. He adored his mother and was actually worried that if he got a wife, she'd come between them. So he shot down every single suggestion his mom and sister made. That's when Sushma had a very modern idea: a matrimonial website. She figured, hey, maybe if he just looks, he'll find someone. So she made him a profile. So they're scrolling through profile after profile, and Aryan's just not interested. Sushma's about to give up. And then she shows him the very last one. And Aryan just freezes. The girl, Viba, was stunning. Her smile, her eyes, he was totally mesmerized. The profile said she was an orphan, living way out in a village with her aunt. And for the first time ever, Aryan was actually interested. The whole family could feel it. This was the one. All right, so the family makes the trip out to meet her. But the second they get there, everything feels off. The village is just desolate. The house looks like it's been abandoned for 100 years, totally barren and covered in fungus. Viba's aunt was so cold, just no expression at all. And then came the biggest red flag. When Viba touched the feet of Aryan's mom and sister, as a sign of respect, both women felt this sharp, burning feeling. Like an insect bite, but weirder. It just felt wrong. On the way home, his mom and sister are talking about how uneasy they felt, but Aryan overhears them, and that sweet, respectful son they knew was just gone. He storms in and gives them this insane ultimatum. And you know what? Despite all the red flags, they gave in. They just wanted to see him happy. They had no idea they were basically sealing their own fate.
So the wedding happened. It was a simple affair. Viba showed up with just her aunt, and Aryan's mom, remembering how her own relatives treated her, felt sorry for the girl. That night, Aryan walked into the bridal room, just excited to start his new life.
The room smelled amazing, like roses and incense. Viba looked absolutely perfect. But then, Aryan's eyes drifted down to his bride's feet, and his blood just ran cold. They were black, and not just dark, they were rotten, like the feet of a dead body. Suddenly, that sweet smell in the room was gone, replaced by this overwhelming stench of decay. He screamed, "Viba, what is this?" And in that split second, her beautiful face just contorted. She lunged at him like some kind of animal. She whispered something in his ear, this bizarre chant, in a voice that was not hers. And instantly, Aryan was paralyzed. He could see everything, hear everything, but he couldn't move a single muscle. He was a prisoner in his own body. After that night, it was like a dark cloud just settled over the house. The cheerful, hard-working Aryan that everyone knew and loved, he was just gone, replaced by an empty shell. And the witch's control worked terrifyingly fast. Within a week, Aryan was a completely different person. Weak, quiet, totally distant. He stopped going to the shop he'd worked so hard to build. Soon after that, he couldn't even get out of bed, and he started lashing out at his mom and sister with these horrible, cruel words. He'd become a prisoner, with Viba as his warden.
His sister, Sushma, was absolutely terrified. She just knew this new bride had done something to him, put some kind of spell on him. And at night, she'd hear these faint whimpering sounds coming from their room. It didn't sound like pleasure, it sounded like pain. So one night, she decided she had to know what was going on. So Sushma creeps up to the window of their room and she peeks through a tiny crack. And what she sees? It's something straight out of a horror movie. Aryan is lying there completely still, and over him is Viba. But it's not Viba. She's in this monstrous form, hair everywhere, face all twisted. And she's latched onto his feet with this unnaturally long tongue, literally sucking the life out of him. As this thing is feeding on her brother, it turns its head. And its eyes, they were pure white. They lock right onto Sushma's. This horrifying, silent grin spreads across its face. Sushma is frozen in terror. The next morning, she had just vanished, gone without a trace.
The poor mother was now completely alone. Her daughter was missing, and her son was just a shadow. But the horror was not over yet.
For days, the mother kept hearing these faint, muffled cries. She searched and searched, her heart just pounding. The sound finally led her to this huge old clay pot that used to store grain. It felt way too heavy, so using all her strength, she broke it open, and inside was the decaying, liquefying body of her daughter, Sushma.
Completely devastated, she runs to Aryan's room, and what she sees there it's just beyond words. Her son is still alive, his eyes are open, and he's crying, but his body, it's gone. There was no muscle, no fat, nothing. Just a skeleton with a thin layer of skin stretched over it. He had been eaten from the inside out.
Right as her son takes his last breath, the mother turns to Biba, who's just sitting there in the corner. She screams at her, "Who are you? What have you done?" Biba slowly looks up. Her face is burnt, monstrous, her eyes pure white. And in this demonic, grating voice, she finally answers. And then she lunges. And the mother's screams are silenced for good. A few days later, the neighbors got worried and broke down the door. The scene they found was just pure carnage. The mother's body, Aryan's skeletal corpse, and the house just reeked of death. But Viba, the bride, she was gone, vanished. The entire family had been completely and utterly wiped out.
To this day, that house stands empty. It's become a local legend. People whisper that on the darkest nights, you can still hear faint cries coming from inside. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? When a family is destroyed that completely, does the evil just move on to the next victim, or does it stay behind, just waiting?